I've been teaching at South Dartmoor Community College for, 22 years now. And I don't think I'm ever going to forget the day when I was told about Paul's death. It was a Sunday that I was told. I'd gone down for lunch to the Tradesman's Arms at Scorriton, and I was waiting for my lunch to arrive, and an ex-student came up, who's also the daughter of a friend of mine, and she was in tears. And I just asked her what was wrong, and she said, "Alan, I don't know how to tell you, but Paul's dead." And when she told me that it was a car accident, I just thought, I can't believe that. I mean, I know how he drives, because for a long time, whenever students had needed lifts to or from school to help, I mean, ever since he left school, he's helped anyone who's needed to stay for rehearsals or stay late at school or anything if they couldn't get transport, always giving them a lift to or from Denbury, and he was always careful. And I just thought to myself, this is wrong, you've made a mistake. And no, he was the passenger. And it was, my heart just kind of stopped for a second or two, and then I just thought back, I remember the day he arrived at school, it was year 8, he came late to us. And I think from the first lesson I realised I'd met possibly one of the cheekiest kids I've ever taught in my life. He had a huge smile, and he was just he was a breath of fresh air and sunshine in every lesson I taught. And he just went through school like that. I mean, he took nothing too seriously, but came out with what he wanted, and he was a friend to everyone. And he didn't want to go on an act, he didn't want to work there, but he knew what it meant to some people. He gave them terrific support, and because he had some talent in that area, he always supported them in the work. So whether it was music, drama, or even dance, he would support that work. And just fantastic for somebody who was such a good mechanic and working with animals and the way that he did. He shared, he was never precious about what he did, and he really supported everyone. Well, what makes it even worse was that he was actually working for friends of mine up on Exmoor. And the week just short, or 2 weeks after the accident, I was going to be seeing him anyway up there, because I was going up for a funeral of an old friend who died, a friend who was nearly 80 when he died. And we were going to be scattering his ashes in a place that he loved, and going for dinner afterwards down to Tar Farm. And Judy, who ran Tar Farm, was Paul's boss. And when we met at the funeral, it was awful. I mean, this was the funeral up on the moor, and then of course shortly after that we met again at Paul's funeral. And I'd spoken to members of staff, well, how on earth can we as a college say something about a character like Paul, and sort of taken from us so suddenly? And I sat and I wrote something very short and handed it to someone at school who knew Paul's mum. And I said, please, from us here, can you take that? And when we got to the funeral, I was kind of, please, come into the chapel. Although the place was huge. I've never seen so many people. So many people all laughing with wonderful memories of this amazing guy. And then as the service went, the mixture of smiles, suddenly the tears were there as well. And then the thing that I'd written was read out. And when I saw that everything that I thought and that my colleagues at school had asked me to say was what everyone else there was feeling, I realised what we'd lost in that accident. And I mean, from the next day when the shops opened, I've got to find it now, I've put it in a pocket. When I knew Paul had died, I said something, and I bought this because one of the things that I'd written there was the fact that he had a smile as wide as the sky and a heart as broad as the sun. in what I'd written, and I found this little blue heart, and I've carried it ever since. And sometimes I leave it out, and if students ask, I tell them what it's there for, and usually finish by saying, look, please take care when you're driving. I'm actually too old to go through another one like that. I've been to too many funerals of students who've died in car accidents. And this last one was the last one I ever want to do. And if nothing else comes from it, then Paul, get the message out there. Thank you.